Oh, yeah. Give it up for JT Cole.
Yeah!
Hey, everybody. Good to be here in Winston, the town that gave us his and her cigarettes. The dudes smoke Winstons, ladies, you get the Salems. Look, I'm from Burlington, and we didn't even invent the coat factory. That was Vermont. Like, we missed a golden opportunity on that one. Yeah. I think the one we had even shut down, so it's, like, extremely ironic. Yeah, I am from Burlington. It's about 60 mistakes that way. And, you know, we're not really known for anything in like modern times. We're probably best known for building a shopping center where we put a BJ's Warehouse beside a Dick's Sporting Goods. Like for convenience, you know? Like we built a meme and we didn't get the joke, right? Like you could have put a Jiffy Lube and a Handy Hugo's gas station in the parking lot and we still wouldn't have gotten the joke, right? Just been like, yeah, 48 pack of toilet paper, new Jordans, get your car fixed. That's a Burlington Saturday right there. That is just action-packed, start to finish, right? And I think like the reason we didn't get the joke is because across town, in the older part of town, there was an older shopping center called Cum Park Plaza. And it's spelled exactly the way you think it is. Yeah, you didn't want to stay there too long. It could become like a real sticky situation. My grandmother used to take me shopping there when I was a little kid, and she just like leave me in the car like I was a dog or an infant. Yeah. Burlington it wasn't like all bad, right? I think I did a good job of like expanding my horizons and like looking beyond my station and stuff, you know. And my parents were pretty good about turning me on to like movies and music and stuff that were pretty interesting and all. I actually grew up, I watched a lot of gangster movies and like mafia stuff like that, like The Godfather and The French Connection, Serpico, those kind of movies. Yeah. I actually thought my dad was in the mafia for like a good portion of my life because my dad looks like Pat Riley, and if you don't know who that is, you can go fuck yourself. I mean, at the very least, Google what does Magic Johnson have, and it'll come up eventually. Oh yeah. My dad he had like the nice clothes, nice watch. He slicked his hair back, nice cars, all that kind of stuff. He was a letter carrier as his day job, you know. It just kind of made sense. And my dad had like a guy for anything. Like if you need tires, Dad's got a guy. You need a plumber, Dad's got a guy. You need a spatula, Dad's got a guy. He would just tell you someplace, you would go and you would get what you needed. That was how it worked. And whenever I had like a school function or like a sporting event or something, he would like stand off by himself while the other parents sat in the bleachers or whatever, and they would all go down and talk to him, but then like he would just stay where he was, you know, they were paying their respects. So me and my friends just assumed like he was kind of, you know, mobbed up, and we would just joke with him and like quote The Godfather or something, and he'd quote back, act like Al Pacino or Marlon Brando. But then when I was in 10th grade, two things happened that were alarmingly not funny anymore. Like our next door neighbor had a dog, and before I finished this story, it was 20 years ago, dog is definitely dead. No dog lives that long. But the dog would just bark all the time, and we couldn't go in our backyard, and it was just so much noise, and it was just really annoying. And my dad was like, hey, I wish there was something we could do to shut that dog up. And I said, well, my mate John's got a pellet going. Maybe we could get that, pop it a few times, and it'll shut up. So my dad's like, good idea. We drive over to my friend's house. My dad leaves the engine running, goes in the back door of their house, comes out the front with his baseball hat pulled down real low, carrying what looks like a 45, and he left the front door open. I'm thinking my best friend just got murdered. And he gets in the car and he's like, here, hold this. And now my prints are on the murder weapon. But we did shut the dog up. One way or another. Then another thing happened. I was in the house one day just doing homework, and he was out working on the cars. And I hear him yell from the front door. He says, hey man, come out here for a second. And I get out to the front porch and I see my dad at the back of our family's Cadillac with the trunk open. And at that point, I'm shoveling shit out of my pants back into my butthole because I am terrified. I figured, I think I'm about to see a body in that trunk. And he's about to say, son, you never forget your first. My Algebra 2 teacher had been real lippy lately, so, you know, it just kind of, the pieces are falling into place. But I like slowly walk out to the back of the car, and he's just like, "Hey, did you know this button folds down the back of the seat?" And I just was like, because like on one hand, my dad's not in the mafia, but on the other hand, man, my dad's not in the mafia. I thought I was gonna be like set for life. It is. I thank y'all for sticking around and watching and all. It is good to be here. I think it's good to have community like this and share a laugh. Come out, have a little giggle. A tee-hee, if you will, because we are in such divided times as it is outside. We're living in very divisive times. Everyone's just kind of backed in their corner, ready to come out swinging. I think like this, and fuck you if you don't, that kind of thing. And I grew up in the '90s, right, when there was a lot of rivalries within the music industry. So I thought my generation just learned to pick sides from that, and then just carried it on with everything else moving forward. Right, Nirvana versus Pearl Jam, Biggie versus Tupac, right? That's the no-win situation. You had Britney fans versus Christina fans. Some people liked NSYNC, and some people were just fucking wrong. But I think, personally, if we're going to heal the division in this country, we're going to have to confront January 6th. We're going to have to talk about it, because that's the day that the country got permanently divided. You're on one side or the other, and the middle ground just eroded away to nothing. That's the date, January 6th. You're either with us or against us, good versus evil. January 6th, that's the date. January 6th. January 6th, 1975, because that's the day that Wheel of Fortune debuted on network television to challenge Jeopardy for the American game show crown. That's how I see the world. You're either a Wheel of Fortune person or a Jeopardy person. Don't believe me? Let's look at it. Let's look at the facts. Which group do you think knows the periodic table of elements, and which group drinks a lot of Mountain Dew? Which group do you think can name all the state capitals, and which group puts ketchup on everything and has a favorite vape flavor? The vape flavor might be ketchup, you never know. Let's do one more. Which group do you think can name all the World Series winners? And which group do you think thinks Y can never be a vowel because letters ain't gender fluid? You got 5 of them. E, I, and O. That's it. And Jeopardy's all the time like sending people to like Alaska or the Galapagos, or I fucking hate those categories. But like Wheel of Fortune just puts up a backdrop that says, "Howdy y'all, it's Texas week." And their fans don't know the difference. Those dum-dums, they just still filming the show in Burbank, but they don't know the difference. Now, I'm clearly a Jeopardy person, like abundantly, obviously so, right? But I think I enjoy watching Wheel of Fortune more for like that existential dread that Pat Sajak has when they come back from commercial break, where it's like, we're back, and still doing this shit. She doesn't even have to flip the letters around anymore. Here's a real thing I saw on Wheel of Fortune one time, right? The first contestant spins the wheel. T! No T's. Second person spins the wheel. T! Even louder. Still no T's. Third person spins the wheel. Why? And Sajak said, I ask myself that every single day. It's the best thing I have ever seen on television. That's better than the finale of 6 Feet Under. It's the greatest thing I have ever seen. I thought he was going to take one of the pegs off the wheel and kill himself on national television. Just straight to the that dude fought in Vietnam. Do you know that? He fought in Vietnam. And I bet he regrets winning that Russian roulette tournament that got him out. You don't even have to be that smart. Like, you have to know stuff to be on Jeopardy. You don't have to know anything to be on Wheel of Fortune. You only need like 18 of the 26 letters, right? If you make it to the final round, they give you R.L. Stein just to go with, I will say this, though. You don't have to be that smart to host Jeopardy, right? And this is true. One of Alex Trebek's doctors was failed Senate candidate, Dr. Oz. Ooh, yeah, I'll take karma for 2,000, Alex. Let's make that one a true daily double. I don't get why we're so divided right now. All that's fun and everything. I don't get it because it seems we have all have the same enemy. That's right, and that's autocorrect. Autocorrect makes everyone look like a Wheel of Fortune person. There's a lot of people out there ducking, if you know what I mean. A lot of ducking going on. And I think Chris Brown's single, so no one's ducking that much, you know. Here's my autocorrect story, right? So my mom sent me a text one day, and she asked me some question. I don't remember what it was. I just know I was going to respond in the affirmative with the 3-letter word, yup. And I got the first 2 letters typed in, Y, U, and autocorrect as the top choice suggested Yugoslavia. Now, my Jeopardy people, quick to point out, Yugoslavia, not a country since 1992, right? How often is that being typed to where autocorrect assumed I was going to... I don't think I've ever even written that word with a pen. I know I've never typed it. So that became like a thing between me and my mom. Anytime we were like asking someone yes or no, if we said yes, we just responded with Yugoslavia. Now, I've seen things like Homeland and The Wire, and since I carry an iPhone next to my dangly bits all day, I know that the government is spying on everything that I do, and that somewhere in a government building, in a dank, smoky basement, there is a guy surrounded by chalkboards tied together with red yarn trying to figure out while this mother-son duo in Greensboro, North Carolina, is trying to reunify the Balkans under the red flag of communism. He'd just be like poring over our text messages like, man, they sure did talk about Manchester City's midfield attack and how cool Brandy Carlisle is. Maybe they're going to attack out of the northwest of England with an army of lesbian rock stars. What does it all mean? We like jumping to conclusions and seeing connections where they aren't, right? That's one thing we like, I think, as people, right? And we're quick to paint with broad strokes and color something as entirely good or as entirely bad. But I don't think that's how it is. I think we like live on a spectrum in like a perpetual shade of gray, and we like fluctuate between the extremes, right? Because I don't think anything's entirely bad. Nothing is entirely bad. I will stand by that. Like cancer. It's not entirely bad. It's a bad disease, right? It's probably affected everyone in this room somehow. But it made Lance Armstrong more comfortable on his bike. You probably, if you ask his missus, I bet he's a bit more aerodynamic in bed too. Take dementia, that's another one. Takes people away from us long before they actually die. But it turned Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher into bumbling idiots before they died. They were so good at deregulation, they did it to themselves. Look, that's a smart joke. I know where I'm at. That's a smart joke. Just pretend I said lefty hippie bullshit. It's the same thing. Doesn't matter. No one's all bad, right? Like I was recently reading about the homie Osama bin Laden. And it turns out he was a strong proponent in the fight against climate change. Yeah, that's right. Osama been cutting down his carbon footprint. That's right. It turns out if you want to be the evil that you wish to see in the world, you first must save the world that you wish to terrorize. I mean, what's a few tons of asbestos over the Isle of Manhattan? Between friends, really, if we're talking about it. With the remaining time I have left, I would like to thank y'all for staying. It really does mean a lot to me. This is fun. I've enjoyed doing it. I will say that's not always the case. I do have strong bouts of depression from time to time, and I often turn to music when I find myself in times of trouble. And thank you. And, a lot of times that is what pulls me through. So with the time I have left, if it's all right with y'all, I would like to read you some lyrics that have inspired me in my times of darkness and help pull me through. Is that cool with everybody? Yeah. Cool. Let me get it out here. Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. 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 Thank y'all. I'm JT, y'all. Thank y'all. Stay too cool over